Welcome to the Big 12 Insiders, your Big 12 sports show. Here's your host, Brien Hanley.
Hey, everybody, what's going on? This is your man, Big B, Brien Hanley. Joining me, as always, my man, Tim Fitzgerald. Look, welcome to Big 12 Insiders, number one. But what's going on right now, man, in the Big 12 and in college athletics, but mainly college football, is just crazy. Look, we're obviously the football season is winding down. There's a lot of topics we can still talk about. We'll talk about the Big 12 title game tomorrow. But we're going to get into more topics right now as we get into basketball season, because I still think basketball starts too early, but that's different conversation for a different day.
No, it's not. I'm going to work it in.
Yeah. It's just crazy. But you know, I want to talk about yesterday and basically what happened yesterday. It was signing day. And the NCAA has moved up signing day and created this early window, which I don't disagree with, Fitz. I don't necessarily disagree with them moving up signing day, but it coincides with transfer portal stuff and all of this kind of stuff. So we're going to break all of this down for you guys today and then ask you to get in the comments, tell us what you think, agree, disagree, whatever the case, come up with solutions, because I'm interested in everybody's point of view on this. But before we get started, Fitz, again, everybody remember, like, follow, subscribe, continue to hit that notification bell. It's really important right now because YouTube has done some different stuff. So continue to hit that likes, but more importantly, get in the comments section. Let us know what you're thinking, good, bad, or indifferent. We appreciate all of your support. I will say this, man. They came through for us, Fitz. We hit over 3,000 before the season was over. We went over 3,000 subscribers. That's because of you guys, man. I want to thank you guys for your support. So Fitz, yesterday was just a calamity of craziness because technically the portal isn't open yet.
No,
like it doesn't officially open until the 9th. But since if your season's over, and there were some guys from other schools where they're still playing, like there was a guy from Georgia, a backup, not like a bench warmer. This guy was playing. Too bad, so sad. I'm getting in the transfer portal. I'm like, you're about to play for the SEC championship in the college football playoff. Not good enough. I'm playing. The guy played every game this year. Not good enough. I got to get in the portal. But to each his own. But all of it's starting to come to a head. First off, let me just ask you, Fitz, do they got to move the portal date? Do they got to change this thing?
I don't know if there's a good date. I really don't. I mean, they moved it back to prevent kids from going into the portal during the season.
Yep.
They wanted to encourage them to finish out the season. Season's not finished yet. I mean, They moved it up. The season's finished for the teams that don't make a bowl, but
correct.
Season's still going. I mean, the regular season's still going if you want to count championship games as part of it, which you have to because you can't do anything with bowls or the playoff until these games are done.
Right.
That tells me it's the regular season. And they moved the signing day up this year into this week, which I thought coaches would hate because it is still the season. I mean, if you're Iowa State or Arizona State, can you imagine having signing day as you're trying to prepare for a championship game that's really important? And yet I think coaches like the signing day here because they don't have to defend their commitments all the way into later December. They certainly don't have to do it to February now, which they solved with this early period. I would think that having a signing day on August 1 would alleviate a lot of this. If a kid really wants to come, let them sign, and it's over. Coaches literally cannot contact them without, possibly NCAA rules violations, if there is such a thing. And they need to make some adjustments. But, I'd move the football season up. I'd try to find a better portal date. Honestly, Big B, I have no idea what that would be. Because as you mentioned, the portal didn't even open till Monday, and we got kids committing to other programs while they're still on scholarship and not technically in the portal. But if you're a grad student, you can be in the portal because you're no longer a student at that institution.
Correct.
It's just a mess. It's so confusing. But it all comes down to this. The courts ruled and the NCAA sat down and pouted. And now programs and kids and coaches have no guidance from the organization that should be providing guidance because they're pouting.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. My thing about it is, and you're right about the portal date. They've even found a workaround with that, Fitz. How many kids did we see this year where they took a red shirt and said, "No, I played 4 games. This isn't going the way that I wanted. I'm a red shirt the rest of the year, basically drop out of school, and then I'm going to go into the transfer portal." We saw a ton of guys doing it. There were starters on football teams at Power 4 schools all over the country that said, "Yeah, this isn't going the way that I wanted. I'm going to go ahead and red shirt, keep my year of eligibility, and then I'm going to get into the transfer portal." A quick fix to that is just let kid, hey, you have 5 years to play 5. That's
Right.
it just easy peasy. I know your opinion. I don't think we're back and forth on this or disagreeing. You think people should have that medical red shirt an extra year?
1 year. Yep.
I'm against. Look, I'm not trying to be a hard ass or anything about it, but 5 years is 5 years.
I
I'm
agree.
sorry if you got hurt in your 5th year and you couldn't play. I apologize. But you know what? Nobody was really complaining back when the rule was different, where you had 4 to play 5, and a guy got hurt, even if he redshirted and they couldn't play anymore. There wasn't a whole lot of complaining. They would petition, and every now and then that guy would get an extra year. But for the most part, it was like, look, man, these are the rules. I'm sorry. But it seems like the NCAA is afraid to be sued now by somebody. So you can play 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, 9 years in college football. And I'm like, at some point, there just has to be a cutoff. Make it 5. You have 5 to play 5. That's it. And I think some of this portal and transfer stuff, I think you'll eliminate. Well, I shouldn't say you'll eliminate the transfer, but I think you'll eliminate the mid-year stuff. You'll get rid of that, because then you're not losing a year of eligibility. They're like, okay, well, I'll just go ahead and do this, because there is no more red shirting. There's no such thing as a red shirt, which I agree with. I'm good with you not doing that. You have 5 years to play, and that's it. What are your thoughts on that, Fitz?
Well, first of all, I totally agree with you. If they're going to limit rosters to 105,
Yeah. Yep.
then let everyone play.
Let
I
everyone
mean,
play.
if you've got a true freshman that can help you on special teams and you need him all 12 games, why should you lose a year of eligibility over that? I'm all in favor of 5 years of eligibility and making it a lot harder to get anything. I would have some kind of cutout for injury, but I don't even other people can think about that. I don't care.
Yeah.
I just think they've gotten so many loopholes now that everyone's working the loopholes, and the more people work the loopholes, the bigger the loophole gets, until it just becomes part of the process. Now I sprained my ankle. Can I get a medical hardship so I can sit down? And,
Right.
Okay, sure. It's a little bit out of control. And I think 5 out of 5 is something they absolutely need to do. Let's forget about redshirting. It's a weird concept to start with if you stop and think about it. I don't even know what red shirt technically means. You know what I mean? Did you used to wear a red jersey in practice because you weren't eligible? I don't understand it. But yeah, they need to reform a lot of things. I would change some dates of seasons and all that to have this make more sense. But the NCAA, as most bureaucracies do eventually, Big B, don't clarify and simplify. They confuse and overregulate. And I think it's time to take a really sharp look at that from the NCAA.
Yeah, they got to take a look at it. I mean, the thing about the NCAA, are they even going to govern anymore? It seems like anytime you hear from the NCAA, it's on something stupid that doesn't make sense these days. It's like they make a decision and you're like, why did you make that decision? Like, it's common sense tells you something else and you're doing the exact opposite. I'm like, just don't say anything. Just shut up. I mean, it's like we're like, get involved in the things that you need to get involved with that can help, and they won't do that anymore. And I guess I get it. You get sued enough, and and you don't want to lose your standing or whatever, but you're going to end up losing it anyway. But my thing is, at some point, if you're going to be the governing body, and that's what they're supposed to be, is the governing body, put some rules in. And you know what? And if they vote you down, then they vote you down. And if they disagree, then they disagree. But put the rules in and make them go fight it and go disagree. And then you can say, hey, we tried to put these rules in place. The athletic directors and the president said no. So what do you want us to do? We think that these should be the rules. Don't have a rule book, Fitz, that's this thick. You don't have to have it where it's 50,000 pages. Come on now. I go, just put some basic rules in, put it in place, leak it, and then you can say, hey, this is what we think the rules should be with transfer portal, NIL, yada, 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 yada. But hey, we got pushback from the presidents and athletic directors. So, look, we tried to enforce it, but they won't let us enforce it. But as far as the portal itself, I like it. Look, I know I look at this from a player's perspective. And so I'm always not usually, 99 out of 100 times I'm going to be pro player. And I like the portal, but that doesn't mean it doesn't need to be tweaked. You can like something and doesn't mean that it need to be tweaked. Like, I like eating chili, but if the chili isn't hot, I need some hot to my chili. And so the portal's the same thing. I like the portal, but there's got to be some changes to this thing. And your idea of not having a proper date, I think you're right, because it really isn't. Because I've heard people say move it back, Fitz, to after the bowl game. You can't. School started. Can't move it back after the bowl game or the national title. Move it to after the national title. I heard that on Barstool. I'm like, that's almost in the middle of January. People have started school. You can't do that. Now, the argument to that is, well, are they really taking school seriously? Well, yeah, a lot of these kids are. They're not playing professional football when they're done. They're just looking for the best opportunity right now, Fitz. So, yeah, you have to start taking school into consideration. I know that gets put on the back burner, and it does, but you never really hear about these kids being academically ineligible. Like, you don't, that's never been, oh, well, this guy doesn't qualify to go. You never hear that.
Nope.
So if these kids are being eligible and they're able to move, you can't just eliminate the academic part of this, can you?
No, that you tripped into something there that I think they need to layer in more is academic standing.
Yeah.
And you can go into the portal. If you're, quitting on your team and not going to school in the fall semester, if you don't have the grades to prove you're going to be eligible somewhere, anywhere, then no, you can't go in the portal. And we've seen that happen where kids go into the portal and then they just have to struggle and fight to get eligible because they quit on school. But they got to have that. Don't even let them go into the portal at that point. Make that, look, if you want to go into the portal, you got to have good academics. You can't quit on school or you're not going. One goes with the other. So I'm all into that. I think that a solution here that will never be applied is moving the calendar for the seasons. I'm a huge proponent of May Madness, basketball season starting January 1, after the national championship games. So I want football to move up into August a little bit. I know students aren't on campus. I know that's a problem. I get all that. But they're not on campus after Thanksgiving a lot of times either, and you're playing games. Move that season up so you don't play on Thanksgiving, and then you've got a wide open December for playoffs with no school typically, if most academic calendars, I know some are different, for playoffs and a national championship or at least the semifinals. Let's make New Year's Day important again. Remember when we used to wake up because there was 4 games on and we're ready to watch those 4 games? Well, let's get it to that. Let's say these are the games that can be on January 1. Maybe the semifinals. I don't know. But the season should be over earlier. It just should. And because it is about academics, quit telling me you can't do this because of academics. You can't do that because of academics. Oh, we can make money off the football players if we make them play 20 games. Okay, that's cool. That's good. That's what it's come down to, Big B. It's just the absurdity of these people pretending it's about academics. Unless it's about money, then, oh, we can make more money if the kids have to travel across the country and miss classes. Okay.
Yes.
It's a lot of BS.
It is a lot of BS. But my whole thing is that just stop pretending that it's not about money. That's the first thing. It has always been about money, and I'm not mad about that. That I think that's what gets lost. I'm not mad that people are profiting off of college football. I like the fact that everybody that's participating gets to profit off of college football, but I'm not mad that this is a for-profit thing. I think it should be. I mean, I want to make as much, you want to make, everybody wants to make as much money as they can. There's nothing wrong with that at all. The problem is that the means that they go about it. Look, you mentioned moving the games up to middle of August, and there's no kids on campus. You don't think that there would be an influx of kids that come back to school early? Let's just say maybe you start the schools earlier. Even if you don't think that kids are going to find their way to go to a college football game at their school? Of course they are. They're going to show up. Even if they drive down for the weekend and go back home, they are going to make it. I go, so there's no reason that you can't have the season earlier. College football was always, to me, in my opinion, Fitz, and you tell me if you disagree with this, college football was built to be different than the NFL. It was different as in the regular season meant everything. And now that we have the playoff, the regular season doesn't mean as much. I'm okay with that. I am truly okay with that. But I'm not okay with college football still not being different. And when I mean different, the schedule can be different. You can play football in mid-August. It's fine to do that. There's nothing that says, well, we can't start the season so early because, yeah, you can. What, you don't think people are going to be watching football the first weekend of college football if it started on August 12th? You think, no, nobody's going to watch football. Of course they are. They don't care when it is. People would watch college football if it was in March, if it was in April, if it was in February. They don't care. And matter of fact, more people, in my opinion, would want it to start earlier because they hate what I call the dead period between the end of NBA basketball and summer baseball. And forgive me if you're into summer baseball. I am not. But people that don't want to do anything and they're just like, oh, my God, I can't wait till football season starts. If it started 2 weeks earlier, hallelujah.
Yep.
I believe that model of college football being different, we need to get back to that as much as we can. Again, I love the playoff. I love it. But college football can still be different and separate itself. And maybe you generate even more money, Fitz, because nobody's watching preseason NFL football games. And you're going to tell me you're going to have 2 weeks of college football before the NFL starts? If it's about money, there's your money.
I agree. There's one more layer to this. Move baseball back, which is a hard pushback because of the wood bat leagues and all that summer ball.
Yeah.
Let's play the national championship around the 4th of July in Omaha. What is more American than that?
Nothing.
Playing a college baseball national championship right around the 4th. You know what I'm advocating for here is year-round college sports.
Correct.
With a schedule that makes sense. We're going to play football in the fall. We're going to play basketball here in the spring with a little May madness. Everyone's going to wind up those seasons with the NCAA tournament in May. Perfect. End of school. Turns it into a one-semester sport, which is kind of important. Baseball starts 2 weeks, month later, I don't know, and you end up late June, early July in Omaha. Well, but the wood bat leagues, I don't give a crap.
Nobody cares.
I don't give a if wood bat leagues are important, then have a cutout in your schedule.
Yep.
Where everyone's got to do wood bats for a period. I don't know.
Or change it to wood bats altogether.
Think about this. Oh, it's so expensive. Oh, now you're worried about money.
Yeah.
Now you are. I mean, you just taken all the money you can possibly get, line your pockets. And now you're like, well, we can't afford wood bats. BS. You can afford whatever you want.
Yes.
I mean, I know cuts need to be made, and this whole settlement with revenue sharing is going to be crippling. So let's look at some things that make some sense here. You know, that really baseball might be a lot more profitable if you're playing meaningful games in June and fans can flock to your campuses.
Yeah.
It would have its own spot in the world of college sports that would be distinctive. This comes into this, what you just said. The NCAA needs mass reform.
Oh, yeah.
And just because this is the way it's been done doesn't mean it's the right way to do it. It's one of the great obstacles to success is we've always done it this way.
Yeah.
I don't care what business you're in or what you're doing. We've always done it this way is a barrier to better things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the NCAA is all about. We've always done this. Oh, you can't, and now they're outlawing like candy on recruiting trips. And I swear to God, someone in that office is like, yeah, let's do this. We can't get sued over this. I think that's seriously in the discussion now. Well, if we do this, we might get sued. Okay, let's not do it. We're these are sad times, man. This is when people start fouling up things that should be more efficient. I get a little ticked if it's sports or anything else.
No, I totally get it. It's just stupid. Let's just call it what it is. It's just stupid. Having said all of that, you talked about basketball being May Madness. Look, I'm a big proponent of the tournament. Do you think that nobody would watch, or better yet, let's just talk about what's real. Do you think people would stop betting on college basketball in the NCAA tournament if it was in May versus it being in March? Absolutely not. Matter of fact, look, I'm a person, I go to Vegas every year for the first weekend of the tournament. That's just what we do. We had a group of friends. My wife even likes going because she's like, hey, you go, you hang out all day. She goes shopping. And I'm like, well, I don't know if I want you doing that, but either way, and a bunch of our friends, our wives, everybody we go, we make it an event. It's fun. You don't think we'd have a better time in Vegas in May when the pools are actually open? I mean, you don't think people would have an even better time? I'm like, come on. Of course they would. So sometimes we let the tradition of stuff get in the way. But do you think, well, March Madness, it's got to be March Madness. Well, if it was May Madness, what difference would it make? It still starts with an M. I go, the syllables are still the same. I go, you're not adding an extra syllable or anything like that. I just think that makes perfect sense. And if we're going to change, then change. And if you're going to do it, don't half-heartedly do it. Do it all the way. And you can start with football. Look, football is the biggest revenue builder. Start with football. Make the changes in football. And then everything else can parlay off of that. And you might say, well, it gives a disadvantage to one sport over another. Do they really care about that? Because if that was the case, there'd be no way that Stanford and Cal would be in the damn ACC if they really cared about the other sports and the inconvenience that it has. You're telling me that the Stanford soccer team has to go play SMU, then they got to go play freaking Louisville, or they got to play Virginia. They don't care about that. They never have. So why would you start now and acting like you care? It wouldn't matter. Just make the changes and make it right. And that's where I'm at with all of this, Fitz. It's crazy. I didn't want to go off on a tangent, but I just think it was important. I want to know people's opinions on all of this. Yeah. What do you do with the portal? Like, the portal is a good thing. People that say, oh, it's wrecking college football, stop. It's not wrecking it. Stadiums are still full, and people are still watching in record numbers. So you got to stop that talk, okay? You may not like it, and I'm not saying you have to like it, but it's definitely not wrecking college football. What it has done, and we're seeing it this year, Fitz, it's making it more spread out. It's making a lot more teams are able to compete, where in years past, teams couldn't compete. To me, that's a good thing. I like it. I like different teams. Look at Arizona State. Perfect example. Arizona State was horrible, had a horrible administration, had horrible coaching, ran the program into the ground. You hire a new coach, get a new administration, transfer portal, boom, they're in a Big 12 championship game. Indiana. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think Indiana belongs anywhere near the college football playoff based on their schedule. But regardless of that, horrible, been downtrodden for decades. New coach, transfer portal, boom, they're in the college football playoff the very first year. Tell me the transfer portal isn't working. It is. We don't have to like it. We can talk, well, there's no loyalty. The coaches haven't been loyal forever either, and you never cared. You never cared when it was coaches. You only care when it's the player. Let me ask you, Fitz, why is that? Why do people only get mad when it's the players that are leaving and they claim that the players have no loyalty? The players show no camaraderie. Why do fans only get mad at that? But if a coach leaves, you got a better job. What's going on with that?
I think it's just a lack of respect for young people. Like, we have this. You got to pay your dues. You got to do this. You got to do that. And this coach has succeeded in life. He can do whatever he wants. I don't know. I think it's just kind of a norm in society to believe this, but not that. And you can't get people to say, well, again, why? We've always done it that way.
Yeah.
We've always done it this way. For me, the transfer portal needs to be adjusted. It needs to make sense. And again, as we started with, I don't have that solution. Maybe there isn't one, but they need to make it as efficient as possible. It's not the problem. Unregulated NIL is the problem.
Correct.
The fact the NCAA has stopped enforcing any rules about payment to players because of the court, when it's still supposed to be against the rules just to be pay for play. It's supposed to be payment for your name, image, or likeness, endorsements, working for nonprofits. Maybe, I'm saying you got to do this. I'm going to put in NIL on behalf of Boys and Girls Club, and you have to do this to get it. I don't know, Big B. But again, the NCAA has just said, we lost this case about NIL. Have fun, guys. It's all your fault. You solve it. We're going to sit here and have a fresca. And it's turned it into a giant mess.
Yeah.
Just get a committee of people close to college athletics that aren't currently in college athletics with stake in the game, and say, let's find a better way. Let's find a way to do this more efficiently. What are real rules we need? And what are rules that actually protect the players and protect the integrity of the sport, if there is any at this point? And what are rules just because someone decided, on Wednesdays in September, you can't do this.
Yeah.
I mean, regulation doesn't solve problems a lot of times. It just creates problems.
Correct. Yeah, that's exactly right. Look, I agree with you. And to wrap this up, I'm with you on the portal. There's got to be changes. You don't know exactly what that is, what a solid date is. But I think part of the portal problem is you move the signing date up. And you're right. People might say, well, August is too early. No, it isn't. There's plenty of kids that are committing. Now, granted, just committing in the summertime and they're not signing. Well, make them sign. Make that be and you can still have the two. You can still have the one in August and you can have the one in February. I don't think you change that if you want. You keep it that way. But you move the one up, there's going to be a boatload of kids that sign that first time in August because, believe it or not, people, while some kids and a lot of us, don't get me wrong, and I say us because I was a player, love the recruiting process, love to be courted, love going through all of that. But you know what? There comes a time when you're done with it. And you just want it to be over, because I was a person that had a problem with telling people no, and it was an issue. But you know what? If I can be done with that before my school starts and just have it over with, yes, I love the courting part of it, but now I'm done. And I just want to move on. College coaches would like it. High school coaches would like it. Everybody would love it, and just to be done. I think you got to move that date up. I think your idea is perfect, Fitz. Move it up to August 1 or August 15, whatever you want to say. Move it up to then and be done with it, and then have the two of them.
It will provide this. If you're really committed, go ahead and sign in August. And if you don't, that's fine. That's your choice. We're going to keep recruiting that position then.
Correct.
Because you said you're committed, but you're not. I just made this analogy on sports radio. And imagine if you're the star high school athlete. Maybe you're the good-looking school president that doesn't know how to throw a ball, or you're the hottest guy in the band. I don't care. And you got a girlfriend, but you're still accepting calls as part of the recruiting process from other girls. Either you're committed or not, man. When you stop and think about it like that, like on my wedding day, I'm still taking calls. When did you decide you were going to get married? Well, about 15 minutes before the ceremony. I was still taking calls. I still had chicks that, I had to make, do I really want to do this? Okay, I will. It gets to the point of absurdity when you look at it like that.
Of course.
We don't do anything else in our lives where I'm all in on you, except I'm still not. I'm going to talk to people.
Correct.
Just let them sign in August. And if they don't sign in August, they're not all in on you, man.
And that's okay.
It's okay. That's the kid's choice. Look, I'm committed, but I'm like a soft commit. I still want to see other people.
Yep.
Okay, good. I'm going to keep looking for someone who wants to be committed to us.
Yes.
And maybe that'll be you eventually. But until it is, we're still on the market for a significant other at this position.
Love it. Love it, man. Well, thanks, Fitz. Look, this is good conversation. We got to keep this going. We'll keep all of this rolling during the basketball season. Look, we got a lot of stuff still going on here. Tomorrow, we're going to dive into the Big 12 championship game. We got to get back onto that or get into that. Big 12 is being totally disrespected. Brett Yarmark came out with some comments. He's absolutely right. No way a group of 5 should be ranked. If it's about schedule, we can talk about it tomorrow. I don't want to get into it now. We can talk about it tomorrow because Brett Yarmark, he says a lot of stuff sometimes. The man is dead on this time. He's dead on. So we'll get into that. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Fitz.
If you've got a topic you would like us to discuss, drop it in the comments.
Absolutely.
It's not like Big B and I are rolling in ideas. I'm not an intelligent man. I just have this works. I can just put words out. But so if there's something we're missing, addressing, maybe a nuance to this that needs to be discussed, please share it. We value your input and ideas.
Absolutely.
We really do.
100%, man. Look, Fitz asked me to do this, and we started this thing because we wanted the Big 12 to have more coverage. But you know what? This is a site. I am a fan, and this is a site or a channel for fans. So you guys are included in that, man. I'm the mouthpiece. So let me and Fitz be the mouthpiece for you. So whatever ideas you have, what you want us to discuss, whether you think it's dumb or not, throw the ideas out there, man. We're all for it, and we'll cook it up and we'll make it work. So we appreciate all of your support. Like I said, man, I wanted to get over 3,000 subscribers before the season ended, and daggone it, you guys made it happen. I appreciate it. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. You guys have a good one.
Thank you for watching the Big 12 Insiders, your Big 12 sports show. This has been a Spirit Street production.